Welcome to Snail Trail 4x4, continuing on with the Samantha build. First thing up is we are going to rebuild or reinstall the new pump. We got to put that together. I just filled the tank with a little bit of gas, so we are going to be putting that all together and seeing if it's going to kick out some gas from that hard line up front. That's step one. So here's the new things that we got with the pump. Here's the pump itself, the new hose, the clamps for the hose. This is the rubber grommet part that goes on the bottom. We had to get another filter entirely, and it comes with this little kind of crush washer to help hold it on. I had to buy this separately, so you might have to with yours. Here's the old pump, all nasty looking, and this is where the pump goes, right here in this section. And then the hose goes from the top of the pump right into here, and then you connect the electrical down to the pump. So it should be really easy to do. So we got everything together. Here's the pump in line with for pumping all that fuel out. Here's the filter. So now what we're going to do is we're just going to put it in, connect everything up. We're going to crank it over and see if we spit gas out, and hopefully we do, because then that answers one of the questions, and we'll see if then we'll connect that hard line back up and see if we can get the engine to start.
But let's see how it goes this time.
Ta-da! Now we just screw it down. Alrighty, give it a crank. Yeah! We got fluid! Woo! Alright, now we're gonna test it out. Connect it up. Get it into that motor, see if we can start it up. Woo! That's exciting news.
We'll start. Look at that door shake.
Wants to go.
There you go.
Woohoo! Not running very good, but it's running. I'm on the gas.
Runs better than my buggy. It's running. That's half.
Letting off the gas. Alright, we got some work to figure out, but it's going. That's cool. That's cool. Feels like one of the cylinders isn't popping.
It's a possibility. Compression check.
We're close. So we're continuing on next day here. I'm going to do a compression test on these cylinders. I'm going to check them out and see what they're all at. Compression tests are quite simple to do. You just need a compression checker, and so those just screw into the spark plug area. So to do that, we're going to have to remove the spark plug wires, we're going to pull all the spark plugs, and we're going to disconnect the EFI so that no extra fuel is going into the engine when we do the start. I'll talk a little bit more about how to do it when we get there, but first let's remove some of these parts. So what we have here is the compression tester. You can see it just goes up into PSIs. And then this part here just screws into the cylinder. So it's just that easy. You just screw this side in, and then you read what the pressure is in that cylinder. I like to do about 5 cranks. So then you get a same thing on every single one of your cylinders, and you can get a more accurate reading at that same point in time. So what we do is we just screw these into each individual cylinder through that spark plug. We get a reading. I'm going to write them all down, and we can see if there's any highs or lows compared to each spark plug. If there is a low pressure on one of those, or all of them, or maybe none, who knows, That could mean that there's bad seals, a blown head gasket. There's a few things that could go into that, but that could also be one of the reasons why it's running really rough. So this is why we're going to do that test right now. We got about 190, so that's not too bad. There's just a pressure release thing here, so we can go, and we can undo it. And then we do this for all of them. Right about the same, maybe a little higher, about 200 on that one. Right about that same mark in there as well. We're still about 200. That one's a little bit higher, so about 205, almost 210. So all these cylinders are pretty similar. So we got her running, but she's not running very well. And there's a few reasons why that could be. But first, let's say that we put the pump in, so the pump's working. We did do an inline fuse, or an inline filter, excuse me, so that's running. And we are getting now fuel up to the top of the engine. Now that's working, but I don't know if all the injectors are working because it's running really rough. I did do the compression check to make sure that everything was working right and we weren't losing too much pressure there. And it was ranging from that 190 to about 205. So I think that's a good range. I'm happy with that range. At least it should be running with that pressure. So there are a few things that, in addition, now that I need to look into to try and get her running right. We got air and possibly an air leak on the input side, or a vacuum leak somewhere around there as well. There could just be a cracked hose, or something's broken, or the intake is bad. There's a lot of options going on there. We could also have problems with spark. So there could be not enough spark, or not all the plugs are sparking, or the coil's bad. There's a whole option there. Also, along with that fuel, right now I'm going to eliminate the fuel option, and I'm going to eliminate the compression, and I'm going to go towards air and vacuum lines and sparking for that electricity side. So that's the direction I'm going to go next time. If you guys have any ideas, please let me know in the comments down below. I'm always open to try other things. If you guys have an idea of what you think might be happening and why she's not running great, I'm totally open. Please let me know. Hammer down on that subscribe button if you want to follow along with this build. We are going to be building one awesome 4x4 rig here. And don't forget, keep crawling.